Breath is one of the most valuable tools it's the most basic function we have for life. It's the first thing that without we die. And it's deeply connected with our physical being. And the regulation of and welfare of our physical being. When we encounter difficulty, one of the first things that happens is we breathe more shallowly. So our breath becomes shorter. We're not taking in as much air. Let's say we're feeling fear or panic. Our breathing will become more shallow, which in turn will continue the sense of panic in our system. It's kind of a self-reinforcing loop. And in fact, most people are used to breathing just from the top of the lungs. So in a pretty shallow manner already. And to really calm the system, our bodies, oftentimes we have to learn how to breathe more deeply. There's a few exercises we can do to start to learn how to breathe more deeply. So a simple exercise is called 3-part breath. And it's easiest to do lying on one's back. So begin by placing a hand on top of your stomach, let's say belly button. And at first, we're just going to focus on breathing into the stomach. And in order to really get a sense of breathing into the stomach, we're going to exaggerate at first. So start to breathe into the stomach such that your stomach really starts to push outwards, and you lift your hand as you breathe into your stomach. And the breath will become deeper, longer, and really exaggerate that motion, like breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and really push the stomach out with your breath as you breathe in till you can't breathe in anymore, and then release. And release is just relaxing. No need to push the breath out. And then do it again. Do it again. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Breathe in some more. Breathe in some more. Breathe in some more. Big bowling ball, beach ball bellies. Hand moving up a couple inches and releasing, coming down. And play with this a bit. Just breathing into the belly at first. As with any exercise, experiential exercise, practicing is key. So practice breathing into the belly. And as you practice, you can start to notice what happens in the rest of your body and the rest of your system as you breathe deeply into your belly. Probably some calming, a kind of slowing down, these deeper, longer breaths. So it's kind of one area. It's where the ideal sort of place to breathe from. And it's where babies breathe from. And now this next cycle of breath, after we breathe in, expanding the belly, stomach, when that's reached its fullness, can't fill it anymore. Now we're going to breathe in a little more into our upper chest. And you'll feel the ribs expand. You'll notice the upper chest rise, expand. And then relax. And so do it again in that same sequence. Everything's exaggerated right now. We're learning about these different areas. So breathing in, into the stomach first, letting the stomach expand all the way. Then, more breathing in, into the upper chest. Expand in the ribs, and release. And release is just the automatic, natural exhale. So continuing this, breathing in first to the stomach, and then once the stomach's all the way full, beach ball, stomach, breathing into the upper chest, letting that expand, and releasing. So continue to play with this. And so oftentimes, as we've gotten older, we've learned to just kind of breathe just with the upper chest. And really letting your whole being notice what happens in the whole of your body as you practice. And now we're going to add in the third part, 3-part breath. So same beginning, breathing into the stomach, filling the stomach all the way. Let it be exaggerated. And then breathing into the upper chest, filling that. It's smaller. Fill it. And then, third part, inhale into the throat. And then release. So part 1, stomach, belly. Part 2, upper chest, ribs. Third part, last little bit of air into the throat. 3-part breath. And continue to play with those 3 parts. Okay, so breath is certainly important to our physical body, our nervous system. So there's another way of thinking about breath, which comes from the yogic tradition, and it's breath is more than just breath. Breath is prana, a life force energy. So it's their primary way of moving energy in and out of the body. Our primary connection with the world around us. Life force energy riding along on the breath. So, one of the tools that I find really useful is using my breath This is interesting. I have rarely tried to explain this technique. Maybe once. Let's see if I can do this. So let's say I have an insight. Let's say I have a moment of clarity. Clarity and insight are full body kind of experiences. And they tend to be a little short in time and space, and a little bit limited to the mind, we could say. So, one technique is when that insight, that clarity comes, I'll breathe that insight, that clarity into all layers of my being. So, what do I mean by that? So I breathe insight in, And as I exhale, I let it wash through all the layers of my being. And I breathe the insight in. Exhale, I let it wash into what's conscious, what's unconscious, what I have access to, and what I don't have direct conscious access to. I breathe the insight in. Exhale, I let it wash down through my system. Into my emotional body, my energetic body, so this is a way that I can really, I was going to say anchor. This is a way that I can really make the most of a moment of clarity. And it's a technique that I needed to learn because for me, clarity came first to me on a sort of mental level. And emotional clarity took more time, more work. And I started to realize that there were many, many layers. And even, a concept like layers seems like there's real sharp delineations between them, but there's many, many, for lack of better words, right? Many layers to my being. And at some point it wasn't enough to simply experience an insight on a sort of intellectual level. when we're working through old material, it's very common that we bump up against the same kind of things, seemingly over and over again. And this is a technique, a tool to allow insights to penetrate more deeply, more quickly. So breathing, insight, clarity, in, exhaling, allowing to penetrate, allowing the exhale to soften and to melt through all the layers of our being. And if all that is too much mumbo jumbo, you prefer a psychological reading of it, you're giving clarity, time, space, practice. How else does one start to rewire their brain, their experience of the world, if one has carved a deep rut, a groove, a neural pathway, through much repetition, repeatedly thinking in the same way. It's going to take time, space, and practice to create a new synapse. And so we extend that flash, that moment of insight out in time and space. Insight takes place outside of time. But learning a new way of being takes place in time.